Welcome to the Devoted Way podcast, all about magic and miracles with me, Sora Schilling. It's time to hone in on your intuition, become artful, respectful, and nuanced with your relationship with energy, and live life based on your design. Your unique blueprint encoded with stardust from the ethereal realm and blood from those that have come before you. You know what to do and how to be, so trust in yourself. Hello, Starbeams. How are you today? So we are entering into another Devoted podcast. And today, specifically, I wanted to go behind the scenes and share with you something that I worked on and possibly tell you a little bit about the process to see if it might help you out as well. So there's something that, you don't know this about me necessarily, but I'm going to share with you something that I quite often do, which is I am often thinking about before I go to bed or throughout the day, I'm often considering how I'm missing the boat when it comes to being with all of you in community. It is something that weighs on my heart. Now, of course, from a human perspective, I notice when I'm doing it as part of the conflict triangle. So when my mind is saying, Sora, you're not doing enough, you're not showing up enough, you're not working with each of your clients enough, right? There's all of these stories around, are they receiving the value and the impact based on how much I show up for each and every one of my community members? And I know that that part comes from more of my own inner wounds. And so when we move that aside, the other perspective is from a sacred witness perspective, from a place of being devotional to my business. I wonder, what are the things that I'm a little bit missing the boat on, and how can I improve upon it? Be a better coach and a better spiritual entrepreneur by learning what it is that I'm not doing, noticing why I might be procrastinating, and what can I do to create a system, a process to make it a lot easier, especially for me as a projector, which means I have very limited amount of energy. And so how do I get this done? And so today we're going to look at specifically community, right? So I've been looking at my circle community, and in it, I have several communities within the community. And so therefore we have the free collective, which is where everyone is invited into. Now I have it off of Facebook. So if you think of it as like a Facebook group, quote, Facebook group, but it's not on the platform of Facebook, it's on a platform called circle.so. And so this is where anyone can enter. Within that community, then, there's also my paid memberships and my mentorships, as well as my energy coaching school spaces. And so any sort of paid offering has a community built in as well. And therefore, I maintain the conversation, the connection, and the holding of the space within those micro communities. And so if we look at that, we think, oh, that's a lot of communities. So how are you going to even keep up with the community engagement? And so here's a couple of things to recognize, or that I recognize within me and my folks, which is number one, it's not my job nor my intent to have a community where there are people having conversations multiple times a day and it being really high intensity. Number one, I am not extroverted. I am quite introverted, and my community members is not that. So what I mean by that is, have you ever been in a community where it is dynamic? There is lots of conversations. People are posting a lot. They're sharing their videos. There's action steps. There's like, go, 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 you can do it. And it's like very high intense energy. Those groups are amazing, right? And the folks that are in it, they kind of come together. And of course, naturally, there'll be people like myself who are much more quiet and just kind of viewing everything that's happening. What I know about my community is it's not that. When they enter in, there's this sacred act of being very sovereign with themselves, and therefore they are kind of quiet, and they go through the process, they see what's going on, they gather the information, they go through the course modules, all of that. And then when they are in need of something through self-agency and responsibility, they will share when they feel called. They'll share a celebration. They'll share something that's they're they're confused about, something that they need eyes on. And so they will ask for that help, or they'll come in and they'll love up on the folks that have been posting. It is a very loving, grounding, nurturing environment. It feels quite cozy in that experience. And there is no energetic kind of guideline or vow that you have to show up all the time, right? And so knowing naturally that that's the case, when I consider my community engagement, I'm not looking at how many people are going to post, how often, and how can I make sure that everyone is being held for 24 hours a day. That's not what I'm looking at. Instead, what I'm looking at when it comes to community engagement is I'm looking at each of the different spaces and why do I actually want there to be some sort of engagement? What is the touch point within each of the different communities? So I thought I'd share with you how I've structured this so that you understand, and then also the process in which I did this. Okay. So the first thing I looked at was, for example, the free collective. So if you have a free membership, or a free space where people are communing, the intent and the question is, what is this place for? Like, why do you have the space to begin with? And so for me, when I think about the collective, I desire this to be a space where folks come in and they recognize and they start getting to know the community members to see if they fit in the container, right? If there are people like them in the container, to understand my clients, to see if that is even a place where they can step into. So that's the first thing, getting to know me and the people that are part of Devoted. The second is to celebrate one another and to enjoy each other's experience. The third is, because most of these folks are space holders, life coaches, and healers, how can I continue to inspire and motivate and grace them with a little bit of delight? And then what is a way to ensure that they feel as if they can keep going, even when things get really hard from a spiritual standpoint as well as a business standpoint? Also, letting them know what's happening within the community, as well as extending myself as a way of helping them out. So that's what I look at when it comes to the free community. So, what are the 8 different posts that I will do every week or twice a week? And I will kind of rotate them throughout, right? And so, all I have to think of is my sacred pillars. And then I just rotate through them each time, because the idea here isn't to always generate new stuff. It's simply to be like, hey, I'm here. Here's the thing that we're looking at. And now let's go ahead and converse around it. So inside of the collective, the things that I have 8. So here are the 8, just to inspire you if you'd like them as well. So the first is, what's actually happening inside of the collective this month? Okay. And that is, what are the events that are happening? So for example, right now there's Devoted Circle training and a free Ask Sora Anything event. The second post is something that's really fun and engaging that has to do with a selfie. Right? So it's like a selfie with a book that you are reading right now, or a selfie at your favorite spot, your favorite cafe, or a selfie of you just right now at this very moment, no matter what it is you're doing. What is the reaction that you have? So some sort of way so that we can all kind of come together. The third post is a midday boost. So I noticed that my community members have really liked this. I did one and people loved it. And it is sharing a song. And so we share a song and then you get to dance with it or put it on loop and just enjoy it. So that's our midday boost. The fourth post is a keep going. It's okay. You're doing a great job. Let's just find some motivation within us and keep going, because your service and your medicine is greatly needed in the world. The next is what's happening in my life right now, right? So because this is a free community, I want to make sure that they're getting to know me. So that 5th post is something about me and what's happening with me. 6th post is celebration. All right, everyone, let's come together and celebrate. Let's not only celebrate the big wins, let's celebrate the micro wins. Then your 7th post inside of the collective is extending support. I'm here for you. What are you currently working on? What is creating some tension when it comes to holding space? And that eighth final post is welcoming all the new people in. That's it. Those are my 8 posts. And then whatever else happens in there, I engage. But those are the 8 that I'm putting in there as part of a way for people to continue to come back and for us to have those conversations with one another. Okay. So then I'm going to show you some other spaces and how I change it because I don't do the same thing for some of the different spaces. So for example, Magic of Circle. Magic of Circle is a $9 membership where folks get a circle script. They're also invited once a month to come where I hold the sacred circle and they get to drop in with the content because it's based on the script. And so I also then share how they can elevate their impact by using the script as a way to create content. So that's what I do. There is no very intimate touch points with me. I'm not coaching them. There is a space, but the only time that they have that interaction with me is either inside of the community or when we're inside of our virtual sacred circle. So our post here, my intent is more about having members of Magic of Circle have an introspective experience, remembering to return to the script throughout the month and to recognize that there is value every single month by looking at that script, because it's more than a script of holding circle. It's an internal inquiry into their spiritual knowing. And that in itself, when they begin to understand that, creates more impact by the way in which they're going to go out there and share themselves. And so that's the intent of my engagement, is to remind them that script is incredibly valuable. And so here are the 4 different ways of engagement that I'm doing within that. So they're just 4 posts, 1 post a week that will rotate every single month, because every single month there's a new script, right? So the first post will always be a journal prompt based on the through line and the questions that are inside of the script. The reason being is, number 1, it's a spiritual awakening with oneself by looking at those questions for oneself. The second is because it helps them understand why they're holding the space and the circle with the script, and they become much more aligned in integrity. And 3, there's enough information for them to share outwardly and begin to have a initiation around that through line. Post number 2 will always be a ritual. The ritual might be inspired by the script and the ritual that's in the script, or I create one, but it's a way of being an act of service because this is a very spiritual focused space. And then folks can take that ritual and use it in their circles. The third post is highlighting your circle, meaning the circles that people are currently having and hosting. So that is one where I'm like, share and drop in the link of the next circle you're doing, or how was that circle that you held last month, as well as a invitation to go ahead and RSVP to the circle that I'm hosting, right? The fourth post is a ask Sora for help. You have a circle question. Did something happen in your circle? Would you like some additional support? What is your question? I'm here to help you. So that's the 4 posts that will circle back and forth throughout inside of MOC. Do you see the difference between my intent of the free collective and then the membership has a very different thing? Okay, I'm going to go through 2 more to give you examples because I feel like examples really help. In Cosmically Blissful Business, that is a monthly membership. The focus of Cosmically Blissful is to have people, solopreneurs, not feel alone. That's truly the intent. The intent is to not feel alone, to recognize that there is a harmonious crossroad between calling in energy and the spiritual practice and the spiritualness of you alongside of business strategy. How can we merge the 2 together in honor of the soul of your business and make sure that every single day when you are working with your business and taking care of your business, that you feel that you're in cosmic bliss? Because the only way that your business will be sustainable is if you feel deeply connected, inspired, and awe and love what it is that you're doing. And so that's the intent around Cosmically Blissful. So therefore, if that's the intent, what are the posts that I share? So I am going to scroll through 8 different posts, and I put one post every month. So if we think about it, if I create 8 posts and I'm doing that not once a month, once a week, then within the 8, I already have 2 months worth of content or a post to put in the community. So the first post is around where are you in your business cycle? Much of what I speak about inside of these posts is based on the framework and the mutual language that is cosmically blissful. Now, the reason that I do this is so people can go back and remember and touch upon these different frameworks and ideologies around cosmically blissful so that they can come back and return back to themselves within their business. That's why. So I say, where are you in your business cycle? Don't remember? Here, take a look at what the business cycles are inside of Cosmically Blissful. Take a bird's eye view, step back from your day-to-day hustle, and notice where are you? Orient yourself. Okay. Your second post is around the Cosmically Blissful Manifesto and wondering which of these they're working on this week. And so, for example, the manifestos are things like have patience, right? Trust in the unknown, show up and live fully and be fully, right? And so if we take a look at these little mottos and I say, go ahead and pick one, that is going to be your motto. That's going to be the thing that you step into for the week. It has a very playful, sacred vibe to it. And so if you say every day for this week, I'm going to trust in the unknown, there is a particular flavor. Or if every day I'm going to live fully, all right, there's a very different way in which you're going to engage in life and in your business each day for the next 7 days, right? Post number 3 is all about the core feelings. So how do you actually want to feel this week based on desiring to have a cosmically blissful business? Your post 4 is around your vision, remembering and so honoring that vision. And the reason being is then we can go ahead as a community and cheer each other on and place that in the magical cauldron of manifestation. And then post 5 is an overview around the different stages of business so that you get to remember and yet another space of orientation. Post 6 is around connecting with the soul of your business, remembering that you can't just only act upon business based on strategy and your mind, that we have to actually honor the sacred and pause. Your post 7 is always going to be around what are the events happening inside of Cosmically Blissful, and there are many. And so therefore, remembering what are all the events to show up as much as you can for them. And then, of course, that post 8 is, do you need any help? And so again, if you recognize the reason I'm putting all this together is there are so many events inside of Cosmically Blissful. So if there are so many events, how do I ensure that folks not only understand and orient themselves, but when they show up to all the events, that we know exactly why we're coming together, for what purpose, specifically on whether it is about spirituality, our internal self, or our business, the soul of our business, and the strategies that will create the inspired action. And so therefore, this also helps me understand how my community members are, what's going on with them, and how can I support them as a collective. So if we just take those 3 examples, you'll notice that there are very intentional, specific, and slightly different ways in which I'm holding those spaces. So I hope that helps you when it comes to considering your space that you're holding. If you're holding a free space, why do you want them there? It's not just because I want them as a client and for them to pay me for my offer. There should be something more to it than that, right? If it is a paid space, why are you going to put your energy into that space? For what reason? And it can't only be about accountability, right? And so what are the other reasons? And in what perspective are you looking to help them move forward and continue to evolve and or continue to be introspective and consider what's happening from an internal spiritual perspective, an emotional perspective, a mental perspective, depending on what kind of work and offer you provide. Okay, so based on this, what I would love for you to do is enter our free collective so that each week you'll notice what kind of post I create and also how it's okay if not everyone is engaging. That's not the point. The point is, can you put yourself in there in a way that feels really, really loving and supportive so that everyone knows that you are fully here. You are invested in every single person because you'll have people that are actively involved, and there are some people that will be quietly watching. And what I notice is if I'm in a group and I'm quietly watching and the space holder is not engaging at all, then I'm basically wondering, why am I even here? Right? And so that means I notice for myself, I have had communities where I engage only certain times and I don't in others. And so I have to get really clear around my own beliefs and values around, is that okay? And yes, it can be okay. And is there a way for me to create a streamlined system where I can still enter in and not be so quiet and silent because of my projector introverted ways that need time for myself? So now that you know what kind of posts I do, how do I ensure that there is this ongoing touch point without me overwhelming or burning myself out? Okay, so I'm going to tell you those steps and then we'll close out. So the way I do this is now I have my different through lines around my post, right? I have my things for Magic of Circle, my Cosmically Blissful, my Collective Free Circle, as well as my Lush Mentorship folks. Great. That's all now well said and done. And so I create a Google Doc. So I'm going to show you what this looks like. Here is my Google Doc. Okay, so I have here for August and September. And what I did is on the top, I wrote in exactly what my space is and what day I'm posting. So we have your collective. I'm going to post for now, and then it might change. But for now, for August and September, I'm going to post and schedule a post Monday and Wednesday. For MOC, it'll be every Thursday. For Cosmically Blissful, it'll be every Tuesday. And then for Lush, it will be every Sunday. So now I know that, right? So what do I do next? I copy and paste that particular thing, and then I move it into a particular area. So for example, collective. And now all I'm going to do is focus on collective. And I'm going to write out 8 posts for collective. And then I'm going to do it again, another 8 posts for collective. And so once I do that, you'll see that I've written it all out, right? You'll see it on my side here. And then I say, okay, now that I have everything, I'm going to go into Circle and I will schedule my posts. So then I chunk out the time to go in and I schedule my post. And every time it's all scheduled, I go ahead and put a check mark. And so what I'm doing is I'm batching, but I'm doing one type of action at a time. So one space, collective. Here are the 8 posts I'm creating. I did it. I'm going to create 8 more posts. So I'm in copywriter mode. Now I have 16 posts done. I'm going to add in the dates to know exactly when I'm posting. So now I'm in schedule mode. What dates am I posting everything in? Great. So that's now my logic mind, right? I moved from my creative copywriting mind to my logic mind. Now I'm pretty tired by this point. So what am I going to do as the last action? I'm going to go into Circle and schedule my posts, which is kind of mindless, right? In regards to all I'm doing is copy and pasting. And so I then realize I have a process. I'm going to copy the title first. I'm going to then go ahead and make sure it's in the correct space and Circle. I'm going to copy and paste the actual post itself in, and then I'm going to click and schedule, knowing what date. I'm going to schedule it and then hit done. Next post. And I just do that one at a time, right? I'm batching because now it's the more mindless, rote, and looking at the dates and making sure everything looks right structurally. And then it's done. Magic of Circle complete. Take a break. If I want to, I come back and now I do Cosmically Blissful or I do Magic of Circle. So I'm doing it per space. And the reason I'm doing it in this way is if you try to do all of it in one time, you're moving from your head to your heart to the energetic field, to then doing administrative work, then to doing like your calendar. And it's all confusing. And you're actually spending a lot more time shifting from mind to create, like to logic to creative space. Your left and right hand, your right side or hemisphere back and forth. So often you get exhausted quicker. And so it'll take you a lot longer. Okay. So therefore, once I do that, then it's done. I'm done. I'm done for all of them for the next 2 to 3 months. It took me one day. So I spent one day doing this. And so you can break it out. Absolutely. But what I noticed for me is the following. I love being creative. I love being with my community members. It's why I have so many events. So when it comes to these types of things, I recognize that my cosmically blissful, in order for me to feel incredibly luscious in regards to making sure my community members are held, I have to make sure I sit my bite down and I get this all done in one go. Because if not, I will be overwhelmed with all the little micro actions I have to take in all different places of my business. And so one at a time. Okay. All right. I hope that helps. I hope it gives you a better understanding as to how I do this. Now, if you would like a much more streamlined approach where I tell you exactly what kind of questions to help you really land on what your posts will be inside of your group spaces, and also this entire process of how I do this, I encourage you to come into Cosmically Blissful Business, because in that I will create a little class to help you all in regards to this with, let's say, a Google Doc and all the different resources that I have available to help you with this. But again, know the framework of why I'm doing this. And now if you want the actual tangible steps and some support, come and join us inside of Cosmically Blissful. All right, Divine Ones, enjoy the rest of your day. And I look forward to speaking to you soon. Bye for now. It is a blessing to serve you. My deepest desire is to bring nourishment to your soul, activate and enliven your inner landscape, and find inspiration through the sacred stories of others and myself, so we remember we are collectively woven. If you would like to learn more about mysticism, spiritual devotion, magic and intuition, sacred leadership, business practices, and devoted energy coaching, please make sure you subscribe to Devoted Way Podcast. As I continue to serve, may I humbly ask for a sacred exchange. I would be so appreciative if you would write a love note, otherwise known as a review. Share the episode with your friends and community members, and engage with me on Instagram at Devoted Way. If you have any questions you desire to be answered on Devoted Way Podcast, please head over to devotedway.com and send me an email. Stay sacred and discover your path and join the Devoted Way. May magic and miracles occur in your life every day as you co-create a synchronistic new world with the Great Mother. Until next time, this is Sora Schilling.